So we're having to re-upload. I just realized my video never dropped, which should have dropped yesterday. So here we go again for round two. Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. Who wins the fight? And is it possible for Daniel Dubois to actually pull this off? Before I get into that, hit the thumbs up, sub, and notification bell. That way you get updated when I drop news content like this. With that being said, let's get into the video. Look, first and foremost, Daniel Dubois and his team's already made a fatal error. They made him come off of a lot of weight. He's down into his 230s. 233, I believe the lightest he ever fought at was 231, so he's only 2 pounds away from his lightest weight ever, which is stupid. It's just dumb. It's the same thing they did with AJ. It's the same thing that Joe Joyce did, and it's stupid, and I'm going to explain. Usyk came in at 220, so now there's only a 13-pound difference when there could have been a much greater difference, at least a 20-pound difference, actually around a 24-pound difference if he would have came in at his normal weight, which is a huge difference. 13 pounds isn't that much to overcome. The reason why they did it is to make Daniel Dubois faster, more agile, quicker. But here's the problem. Speed is not trained. Speed is not created. Speed is born. You either have it or you don't. It's just like knockout raw power. Punchers are born. They are not created. Now, what you can end up doing is you can make somebody who's a hard puncher hit lesser by doing dumb stuff, changing their body. But you can take somebody who you just took somebody and gave up all his natural attributes. That's what you did. You gave up his natural attributes. That's what they did. You could take somebody and give up their natural attributes, and that's exactly what they did. I know I kind of rephrased that several times, but in my mind, this is just stupid. It was dumb. It's a tactical error. And the thing about it is this. You are not a better boxer than Usyk. You are not faster than Usyk. Your footwork is not as good as Usyk. Nothing you do is as good as Usyk. So the one thing that you have over him is your natural size, your natural strength. Now, let me break this down. In weightlifting, okay? When you come into the gym, a pound to 2 pounds difference, that can be the difference in you meeting your max or not meeting your max. So what I mean by that is, me personally, right? I've literally benched up to 455 pounds for sets, right? But let's say I come in and instead of me weighing around 225, I come in that day 223. That 455, I might not be able to get. For whatever reason, weight affects your strength greatly. It may be a little bit on the scale, but the strength that it takes out of you is great. It's vast. And so now my normal work day of doing 455, I might only be doing 425 for work sets just by losing 2 to 3 pounds. That's it. It's gone. Now you're taking Daniel Dubois and you're pulling off all this weight, about 11 pounds from what I would figure his ideal weight is, around 244. Ideally is where you want him, which isn't too big for his frame, but it's just natural for him. That's where he naturally is at. You don't want somebody so big that they can't move, because when you become too muscle bound, it's no different than being too fat. There's no difference. But having muscle does not make you weaker. It does not make you slower. If you think that is the case, then look at your track runners. All of them are solid muscle. Look, and I'm talking about sprinters. Look at your running backs, your speed positions. All them guys is solid muscle running 4.40s and below. Now, people can say, oh, well, in a boxing ring, it's different. Okay, well, let's look at a boxing ring. One of your quickest heavyweights of all time was Mike Tyson. Pure muscle. 5'10", I would say in his prime, 218, but he got all the way up to 230. Move like a heavyweight Roy Jones Jr., saying Roy Jones Jr., extremely muscle bound. So again, this notion of strength making you slower, slowing you down, making you tired is a lie, and it's just not the case. People still say lactic acid builds up in muscle, and lactic acid doesn't slow you down. That was a myth that has been disproven, and the lie keeps going about lactic acid. Look it up. So again, to me, to get off this rant, to not make this a 30-minute video about the stupidity in the trainers, you have a guy in Dubois who has already shown weakness to punches. His punch resistance has already been shown not to be the best because he's been hurt on numerous occasions. The bigger you are, the more you can absorb. The smaller you get, the less you can absorb. The bigger you are, the stronger you are. The smaller you get, the weaker you are. Normally. And I'm talking about smaller by coming off your natural size. You can have a small man who's strong. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about for you personally. Whatever your natural weight is. When you come lower than that natural weight where you're supposed to be, and I'm talking about somebody in shape, not fat, then you're making yourself weaker. And it's one thing if you're fast and you're big and then you want to trim down to get faster. But when you're not fast, it doesn't matter how much weight you pull off. What you gain is insignificant to what you are losing, which is going to be much greater than. So to conclude this, Daniel Dubois getting in there, doing what Derek Chisora did to Usyk, the blueprint of roughing Usyk up, I think it really goes out the window because they just took off his size advantage. Now, as far as his punch goes, does he have the ability to hurt Usyk? I don't know. That's yet to be seen. I've seen Dubois hit lesser fighters than Usyk, and they take his punches fine. So saying that he's a harder puncher than AJ, I have my doubts about because his quality of opposition is much lower, and I've seen guys absorb his damage. So, again, I don't know. But as far as this fight goes, I'm going to say the smart money's put it on Usyk. We have seen Daniel Dubois get the fight beat out of him. The one thing that I thought they was going to do, make him come in a little bit bigger so he could hold Usyk, beat him up in the clinch. Well, that's not going to be the case. And I would not be surprised if Usyk is actually stronger than Daniel Dubois. I would not be surprised because Usyk has found his natural ideal weight, and that's around 220 to 221. That's where he fights now. That's where he walks around. That's his ideal weight. He looks good at that weight. No, he's not ripped to the core, but you don't have to be ripped to the bone to be muscular. He has a lot of muscle over him. Aesthetics does not mean anything. You can look at the definition or the depth of his shoulders, his biceps, all that. People look at abs and they think, oh, well, if somebody doesn't have shredded abs and they don't have a lot of muscle, that's just not the case. Abdominal fat, some people carry that. And that's the only place they have fat, so they look like they appear to be less muscular than what they really are. Usyk carries a lot of muscle at 220, 221. And this is ideally where he wants to be at 6'3". Daniel Dubois, to recap in this, because I know I'm going tangents and I could talk forever, and maybe because it's a re-upload, I've just gone in. This is much longer than the first one. Daniel Dubois' team gave up all tactical advantages. They're assuming that him getting smaller, he's going to be faster, lighter on his feet, able to catch Usyk where he wouldn't have been before, and that just tactically is the wrong thing to do. You just saw AJ try to do that twice, and he got completely embarrassed and outclassed by trying that. And now a guy of lesser skill than AJ is going to do the same thing. Man, it is so true. History does repeat, and I see it like that. Usyk very well could stop Daniel Dubois because, like I said, we've seen lesser fighters damn near beat the fight out of him. In fact, Joe Joyce did beat the fight out of him, and he almost had the fight beat out of him in the last fight. He just got lucky. So, with that being said, I got Usyk winning this by decision, but do not be surprised if Daniel Dubois gets the fight brought to him and the fight beat out of him, and he just does not want to continue in between the 9th to 12th round. On that, let me know what y'all think about this fight in the comment section below. I don't expect a lot of y'all to see this, being that it's a re-upload.